probably the most woke. I would say that in a way.
I would say most politically correct.
Yes.
Like
Oh.
You were a little side piece for the devil for a minute, you know?
If they would have, I mean, maybe that's not like.
So Chris, from his moan, you can tell. Chris is the gay one. No.
I think I'm on the wrong podcast, guys. Hello and welcome back to the channel. It is the only one on YouTube, and it is mine. And no, you cannot have it. Today, I wanted to talk about Shane Dawson. I know, but I really can't help it this time. He has me tied up and locked in a dungeon. That is a joke, by the way, but based on some of the stuff he has actually done in his videos, Anyway, Shane has started a new podcast, you know, because the last one just went over so well for him.
One time, I laid my cat down on her back.
Are you gonna get arrested for this?
I don't know. No.
Think about it.
I don't think so.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't penetrate.
And she goes, "Oh, I'm a cheerleader." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And she shows me her Instagrams, which are like, first of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy.
I can't even imagine somebody fucking my dog. Actually, you know what? I can. Drew. I told Drew to fuck my dog because Drew was like pretending to hump him, and I was like, maybe just fuck him. It's been a minute.
Bestiality.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay, let's just get into this.
All right, this is a test of whatever this is. How does everybody feel? Can you hear me?
I feel positive. I can hear you.
Okay.
And I'm glad to be a part of whatever it is.
Ryland?
I'm here. Hey, you and me both, Ryland. Nope, I shouldn't have said that. I really should not have said that. I need to distance myself from these four men as much as possible. Next, we get a bunch of time codes to show us just how much of the episode is going to be focused on them getting canceled. There's like a 9-minute long segment on their Insecurities, which is just them talking about how they're afraid that they're going to get canceled for this podcast. Aww. Then a 2-minute long guest ideas segment where they just talk about how they're afraid that no guest is going to want to come on because they're going to get canceled. Aww. And finally, a controversial segment that lasts for 10 minutes. So in total, around 22 minutes of this hour-long podcast, that's about 37% of the show, is dedicated to their worries about being canceled. But if you're really that worried about getting canceled for this podcast, just don't do it. No one is making you film this podcast. There is nobody behind the camera pointing a gun at you, forcing you to film this podcast. So just don't do it. Either way, though, I'm sure you're curious who's on this podcast besides Shane Dawson. So the boys decided to introduce themselves.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. We don't really know what this is, but I think we should go around and introduce everybody who's here and what our part on this show may be.
We start with Jared, who tells us that he is a analytical, skeptical conspiracy theorist.
I think I come with a very conspiratory perspective on things.
Ooh, okay.
I'm often a skeptic. I like to deeply analyze situations, but I also just like to shoot the shit.
Jared is also Shane's real-life brother, and somehow worse than Shane.
I mean, right away, people asked me, "Are you a flat earther?" It was almost like I felt this need to say yes. And the truth of the matter is, even in the video that I did with Shane, I never say I believe in the flat earth. You know, I say that I love the ideology around it, that I think there's a lot of positive that can come from people learning about it.
Like the Flat Earth Conference are the scariest people I've met.
Really? In what way?
Dude, that shit's all about Jews.
That's a tough one. You know, the Jews are in fucking. They freaking control all of everything. I mean, 9/11. Back to that.
You got a Kimmel and you got a Fallon, and I think both of those are Jewish-backed names. What we're standing on here is not what they told us it is. The whole thing can be solved very easily. How do you stand on Hitler? Do you believe in, if you research Hitler at all? Hitler was demonized.
Right, so Hitler discovered the flat earth theory and the Nazis built a city in Antarctica under the ice.
And they've been hiding the flat earth reality to keep that land in New Swabia away from public scrutiny.
Which gives us a little insight into how Shane became the way that he is.
On a scale of being canceled, how scared are you?
Great. So we are only 2 minutes and 16 seconds into this podcast, and they already won't shut up about how they're getting canceled. It's also really sad to me to see how Shane, instead of showing us how he's changed or grown from the situation, has decided to just make the fact that he got canceled his whole brand for the past few months.
I feel like the only way we can stop the culture is to be uninhibitedly honest with each other, right?
Wow.
So,
but now the boys have started on this tangent about how they're going to stop cancel culture by speaking the truth. And I feel like it's time for me to interject and say that cancel culture isn't real. Nobody has ever really gotten canceled. Nobody has ever just fully been canceled off the internet, canceled off of the face of the earth. Finally, we get back to the introductions, and Shane introduces Chris as a gay Mexican.
So
you got a sheath.
So Chris, from his moan, you can tell Chris is the gay one. No.
Diverse representation. Straight, bi, gay. Honestly,
Mexican.
Holy shit, why? And it doesn't matter because Chris is Peruvian. He's not Mexican. He's Peruvian.
I'm Peruvian and German.
Wow,
Yeah.
work. Okay, so Chris, who are you besides being Peruvian and gay? I would say out of this group, you are probably the most woke.
Woke.
Chris is a little younger than the rest of the guys, so they all talk about how much more woke he is than they are. I feel like I'm watching two drunk uncles like discussing what's wrong with woke generation. They just keep going on about Chris being woke or politically correct.
I would say most politically correct.
Yes.
Like he is most in line with the values of that in which would be a correct person navigating the world.
Is that what woke is?
But Shane, nobody canceled you because of your politics, man. I don't care what your politics are. Nobody cares what your politics are. You were sexualizing children. Thankfully, we are now 9 minutes into the podcast, which means that we now have 9 less minutes to watch. Finally, though, they are going to move on and talk about guests that they would like on the show.
Yeah, well, one of my people was Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, that's not happening, man. But now it's time for everybody's favorite topic, our insecurities. Yeah, that's right. They're going to talk about their insecurities about the podcast, but you could probably already guess what they're all going to be.
Insecurity is that I'm going to be boring and that I'm going to censor myself too much, and also that I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble, and then everybody's going to be like, see, he hasn't changed.
I hate to break it to you, but it's a little too late because nobody thinks that you changed anyway. What kind of crazy shit goes on in your head that you think that you need to be censored for an edited podcast? This podcast is edited down. Go to therapy, please. The whole next segment, spicy relationship stuff, is entirely dedicated to Chris and his relationship with his boyfriend. Yet Chris still never gets a word in. Like, he still just never gets to talk, and anytime he tries, he just gets interrupted.
Insecurity is another person's kink.
Sure.
That's beautiful.
It's my
So now I'm feeling objectified.
Wait, what are you? Yeah,
I wouldn't say that you're a fat guy.
Okay, we're not going to go there.
Well, I don't think Ryland is the expert on the topic, though.
No,
Right.
sorry.
Back to Chris.
Chris?
Hi.
So the reason
My least favorite interruption from this segment, though, was when Shane was talking about how much he weighed in high school and how he thought that a serial killer was going to fall in love with him because of his weight. What the fuck? What is wrong with you? This is edited. You could have taken that out. You didn't have to leave that in.
On the at Shane Dawson Podcast Instagram account, I asked for your guys' controversial opinions, and they would be completely anonymous. And oh my God, some of them were pretty offensive. And I don't really get offended by anything. And even I was like, whoa. Like,
I don't know if I got as deep, controversial thoughts as maybe you were hoping, but
Okay.
I did get some that I felt worthy of talking on. So the first one, and this was written by Marcos.
No, what did Marcos say? What did he say that was that bad? Jesus. Thankfully, though, this episode is coming to an end. However, this is Shane Dawson, so firstly, we need to discuss if people are selling their souls to the devil, like he hasn't already made 100 videos about this exact topic. Jared apparently knows, like, everything about selling your soul to the devil. He knows how to do it, when to do it, where to do it.
Of going to parties and there being these rooms. And in order, like, you have to go into this room and you have to go through with this ritual or this ceremony. I don't want to get into the details of what people talked about it being.
Wait, what?
But a lot of the times it's just the same kind of things they would use to blackmail politicians. Okay. Stuff of that nature.
Like give a guy a blowjob.
Yeah, stuff like that. It could even be worse, you know.
Right.
But and the concept is once they get you locked in like that, then you're pretty much a puppet. So
maybe he did do it from experience, but his deal must have gone bad if he is now on the Shane Dawson podcast. So, however, the group does just decide that selling your soul to the devil is real and is something that every rich and powerful person has done. So to that I say, sign me up. Okay, so just to wrap everything up, about half of the podcast is just your politically incorrect uncles discussing what's wrong with today's youth and their cancel culture over some beer at a family gathering. And then the other half of the podcast is just a 2018 Shane Dawson video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you left a like or like a positive comment to help feed the YouTube algorithm. And if you really enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you subscribed or shared the video with your friends and family, because that is honestly the best way to support me so I don't have to sell my soul to the devil. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.